Hello, and welcome to your training on healthy relationship behaviors. This is part of your violence prevention training, and during this module, you will be able to identify healthy relationship behaviors. You'll be able to define types of partner violence. You'll understand why healthy relationship behaviors are important. So, our first question that we want to ask ourselves is why healthy relationship behaviors? Why are they so important? What we know is that 1 in 5 female identifying and 1 in 14 male identifying students across the US will be sexually assaulted during their time in college. We also know that rates of sexual assault are higher for students of color, LGBTQIA+ students, low-income students, and students with disabilities. Of these students who have experienced sexual assault, 34.1% will drop out. This is higher than the overall dropout rate, and frankly, it's just way too high. Continuing on with why healthy behaviors, we know that women between the ages of 18 to 24 are at risk of sexual assault at a rate 3 times higher than other women. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the US. Intimate partner violence doesn't discriminate. Relationship abuse is happening at rates across the board almost identically. 1 in 2 trans and non-binary people, over 1 in 3 women, and nearly 1 in 3 men in the United States have experienced some form of intimate partner violence during their lifetime. Some definitions before we get really into this. Intimate partner violence is abuse or aggression that occurs in a romantic relationship. Intimate partner refers to both current and former spouses or dating partners. Dating violence and domestic violence, or DV, is violence that is committed by a person who is in or has been in a social relationship of a romantic or intimate nature with the victim. As we start, we're going to talk first about healthy and unhealthy relationship behaviors. And we would like to start with a video from the One Love Foundation. This is their hashtag That's Not Love campaign.
Because I love you. I want to be your only guy.
Because I love you, skip class with me. Let's stay in bed today.
Because I love you, I just want to be with you so freaking much.
Because I love you.
I waited for you after Chem Lab.
You were walking with Mark?
Because I love you.
You shouldn't be hanging out with that dude.
You should know how dumb that makes me look.
I don't care if she's your lab partner.
Why do you have texts from him?
Because I love you. This number,
Delete.
Because I love you. This Jason number?
delete.
And Ben,
Delete.
because I love you, I should smash your phone.
I'll let you give me your password instead.
Because I love you.
I will check your texts every day.
You got lucky. Because I love you.
Because I love you.
You think it's okay.
Because I love you. You understand.
Because I love you. You stopped talking to your classmates.
And you feel completely alone.
Because I love you. That's not love.
Okay. So as we start, we'll look at 10 signs of a healthy relationship and 10 signs of an unhealthy relationship. These come from the One Love Foundation, which is a wonderful nonprofit. All of their trainings are free. If you would like to get more involved with violence prevention, please feel free to contact me and we can get you set up with some One Love trainings. So we would like to start with our healthy relationship behaviors, and the first that we'll talk about is a comfortable pace. This is when the relationship moves at a speed that feels enjoyable to each person, meaning that one person doesn't feel that it's moving too fast while the other feels like it's being comfortable. Trust is when we have confidence that our partner isn't going to do anything to hurt you or to ruin the relationship. With respect, we value one another's beliefs and opinions and love each other for who we are as people. We're not constantly trying to change one another. With fun, you enjoy spending time together and you bring out the best in one another. Healthy conflict is when we're able to openly and respectfully discuss any issues we may come across, and we can confront any disagreements we might have without judgment. With honesty, you can be truthful and candid, and you can do this without fearing how the other person will respond. Honesty's key is that you can do it without the fear, because otherwise we're not going to be completely truthful with someone. And independence is when we have space to be ourselves outside of the relationships. These healthy relationship behaviors are particularly important for all of the relationships in our lives, not just romantic relationships. And having space to be yourself outside of each of these relationships you hold with the people in your lives is very important. Next, we look at equality, and this is when the relationship feels balanced. Everyone is putting the same effort into the success of the relationship. This is not to say that we don't all have off days, and this is not to say that we can all put in 100% all of the time. This is just to say that overall the relationship is balanced and everyone is putting in the same effort. With taking responsibility, this is owning your own words and your own actions. You're not constantly making excuses for your behaviors. And with kindness, you're caring and empathetic to one another, and you provide comfort and support to each other. So please, if you will, picture this. Think of a previous relationship filled with healthy behaviors. Keep that thought, and we're going to go ahead with our unhealthy behaviors. The first of which is intensity. And with intensity, this is when someone expresses very extreme feelings and over-the-top behavior. A lot of times we'll call this love bombing. With manipulation, this is when someone tries to control your decisions, your actions, or your emotions. A lot of times we'll hear people talk about gaslighting. Manipulation is a large part of gaslighting. Sabotage is also a part of gaslighting. This is when someone intentionally ruins your reputation, your achievements, or your success. Guilting is when someone makes you feel responsible for their actions, or they make you feel like it's your job to keep them happy. With deflecting responsibility, this is when someone repeatedly makes excuses for their unhealthy behavior. It's the polar opposite of taking responsibility, and there's always an excuse for everything. With possessiveness, this is when someone is jealous to a point that they try to control who you spend your time with and what you do. Oftentimes, we will not see possessiveness without seeing isolation. And isolation is when someone keeps you away from your friends, your family, or other people. Very often, if someone in the relationship is possessive, the other person quickly becomes isolated. Our next unhealthy behavior is belittling. This is when someone does and says things to make you feel bad about yourself. We see often with social media that there is a lot of belittling towards people that sometimes they don't even know. The next that we look at is volatility. Volatility is when someone has a really strong, unpredictable reaction, and it makes you feel scared, confused, or intimidated. If you think back to when we spoke about honesty, the key to honesty was that you could do it without fear of how the other person is going to respond. When we look at volatility and someone having really strong, unpredictable reactions, we can see that oftentimes we'll have a breakdown in our healthy behaviors due to unhealthy behaviors presented to us. With volatility, the person using healthy behaviors may not be so inclined to do so if the person is very volatile. We aren't going to want to tell the truth if we're scared of how the person is going to respond. And with betrayal, this is when someone is disloyal or they act in an intentionally dishonest way. Betrayal comes in many forms. It can range from someone telling a little fib to someone cheating. So now I'd like you to picture this. Do you remember the relationship before that was filled with healthy relationship behaviors and how it made you feel? Now think of a relationship that's filled with unhealthy behaviors. How did this relationship make you feel? Which did you prefer? Why? Here we have some examples of some of our unhealthy behaviors. This is Tom Cruise, and he went on the Oprah show. While Tom Cruise was on Oprah, he announced to the world that he and Katie Holmes had started dating. He was intensely in love. He jumped on the couch. He threw himself down on the ground. He shouted to the world, "I love this woman." This is a very good example of intensity. In this next one, though it's grainy and blurry, we see Jay-Z and Solange in an elevator. There was an alleged act of betrayal, and we see that this alleged act of betrayal is met with a very volatile response on Solange's behalf. But we see unhealthy relationship behaviors constantly. We're bombarded with them daily. Social media, they're used as clickbait. They put a rose-tinted glasses over these unhealthy behaviors, and they make us think that they're okay because they're entertaining. What I'd like you to take away from this training and realize is that while these unhealthy behaviors are peddled to us as entertainment, and we're told, like this, click this, read this, oh my gosh, can you believe they did this? These unhealthy behaviors are actually not a good thing. We also see, in terms of unhealthy behaviors, that they're met with more unhealthy behaviors. With these examples, we see them portrayed on social media as clickbait, and then we'll see in the comments very volatile, very belittling, and unhealthy comments being made about people and to people that we don't even know. So, we're going to look at a couple of scenarios. With the first scenario, we look at Alicia and DeAndre. They're high school sweethearts. Now that Alicia has started her freshman year of college, she wants to break up with DeAndre so that she can focus on her classes and her new friends. When she tries to break up with him, he tells her, "I would die without you. I need you in my life." This makes Alicia really nervous to end things. She ultimately decides to stay with him because she feels that his safety is more important than her happiness. So I'd like you to go ahead and take a moment and look at the unhealthy signs on the right side of your screen and decide which of these unhealthy signs you see in this scenario with Alicia and DeAndre. Moving on to our second scenario, we look at Jennifer. In her last relationship, Jennifer's partner cheated on her. Recently, Jennifer has started dating again, but she constantly finds herself checking her partner's DMs on Instagram and asking for their Snapchat password. She won't let them have any other friends because she believes that this is the only way to establish trust in their relationship. Again, looking at the unhealthy signs, which of them do you see in this relationship scenario? One thing I'd like to point out with Jennifer's scenario is that in her last relationship, she was cheated on. This is an act of betrayal. We don't know what Jennifer was like before this act of betrayal happened to her. Jennifer may be coping with this betrayal by using unhealthy behaviors now. However, we also do not know how Jennifer was raised. Jennifer's life may have been filled with only unhealthy relationship behaviors as examples for how relationships should look. Jennifer also may have only been filled with healthy relationship behaviors as examples. Therefore, she may not know the way she's behaving is unhealthy. And we know that behavior change is one of the hardest things that we can ask people to do. So, it would take a lot, but Jennifer can change her behavior if she knows that what she is doing is not okay. Next, I want to talk to you about the reason why. This is the why for the One Love Foundation, and this is the why for why healthy relationship behaviors are so important and why being able to spot the signs of unhealthy behaviors is equally as important. This is Yardley Love. Yardley was a 22-year-old lacrosse player at the University of Virginia. She was 3 weeks away from graduating when her ex-boyfriend broke into her home and he murdered her. Yardley's story is like so many other young people in similar situations. When detectives took Yardley's friends and family in for questioning, they heard things like that George was a very intense guy. It's like Yardley had suddenly become very concerned about her looks, whereas she had never been concerned about them before. They heard that she had stopped going to lacrosse practice, that she wasn't going to parties, and that she wasn't hanging out with her friends anymore. And what detectives found was that the signs of unhealthy behaviors were all there. Her friends just didn't know what they were looking for. So, as we wrap up this module and get ready for our next one, please remember that if you or anyone that you know is in an unsafe relationship, there are resources available. You can scan this QR code for resources both on and off campus, or you can visit our website. You can also visit our office at any time, located in Jones 409.